watch me while I sleep. Don't require your belief. Offering silence but no relief. Can you scream without a sound? Like the freeze that's coming down. Barren space where nothing grows. A secret place where no one goes.
Chaos Springs Eternal is a Delta Green actual play. Delta Green by its nature deals with violent themes, disturbing imagery, and horrors beyond our comprehension. Now, if you wouldn't mind comprehending some horrors with us, I think you'll have a good time.
Can you feel me in the fall? Pull me from this epilogue. My hands are frozen in the snow. The eyes of corpses have no glow. Made these chains just for myself. Rambling about my mental health. Demons on this hazy hill. Only my soul is left to kill.
Hello and welcome back to Chaos Springs Eternal. This is Season 1, City of Woe.
Whoa.
Yeah, are you gonna, is that the woe you're sticking with?
I usually don't double take my woes.
Okay, all right,
Yeah.
no double woes for...
No double woeing for me.
For Mark. Well, we after the strange ending of the last episode, we're doing the one-on-ones again. We haven't done those since we set it up as the interviews post Haunted House. So we didn't really have one-on-ones after the Maw, right?
Right. Yeah.
Which is fine. That was kind of by design. Everything kind of had to happen pretty quickly. There were some timing things to consider, within the world itself. So,
Yeah.
we get to sort of delve back into our characters' stories, seeing how some of the things that they've been doing have impacted them, what they're going to do next, how they change and grow. I realized I should have asked you earlier. Do you have any new stats that you're excited about?
Yeah. Let's see. I rolled a bunch of fours. Well, the sheet rolled a few fours for me. So
Nice.
I was pleasantly surprised by that. My human is 65 now, which I think is good. My persuade is 76.
That's really good.
That's really good. And then my firearms went up by 3. My dodge went up by like 3. My alertness went up a couple points. So I had a few tick up. But yeah, I was pleasantly surprised with some of the stats. My first aid went up by 4. So we will no longer, we will still leave people dying in the street, but there's a better chance we won't.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's that'll be interesting to see if any of those upgrades come into play over the next arc, because as I've hinted at, this next arc is going to be a strange one.
Yeah.
And will probably require a lot more of y'all guys. So we'll see how you implement some of these skills in new and interesting ways. So after we've had everything that happened from burning the body to going back, debriefing. Yeah, first off, going to get the equipment and supplies that Glomus needed, going back, building the box, staying overnight at the manor, burning the body, and then sort of returning to town and seeing that the town is still sort of reeling with everything. We've got Wednesday morning, and Luna did say where to find her, because I know you had some things to bring up with her. But what does Cyril's morning look like, given everything that's happened?
Well, I think he goes home, right? Because we're coming in the morning, right? I drop Joel off and I drop Marcy off.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just kind of hanging out. Now, he did manage to sleep that night, but not a great sleep.
Yeah.
So I think the first thing he does, is that he goes home and he takes a nap. He doesn't want to be knocked out all day. So I think he goes home and he takes a quick nap.
Yeah.
But then I think, because the mall isn't going to open until 10 o'clock anyway.
Right.
So I think if it's early enough in the morning, he will go home, kind of rest, get himself together, take a shower. I mean, we haven't showered in a couple days, you know, those kind of things. Get himself looking spiffy the way he likes to look. And then I think he would take his truck down to the mall to talk to Luna.
Okay. And she is in her shop. I'm going to go ahead and put y'all back in the Ethereal Essence Emporium. One of my favorite names in all of this.
Yeah.
And let's go ahead and hide Marcy and Joel. So it's just you and Luna. And she is yawning as she sits at the counter. She's clearly just opened. And is maybe doing some sort of inventory check on her computer. And as you push through the door, she looks up and flashes a smile. She says, "Well, you're back quick, huh?"
Yeah, I'm sorry about last night. I know that you had a long night too. So did we. But I'm sorry about Mossy and all that. It's just she was kind of having a moment, and I didn't quite know how to deal with what was going on with her.
Yeah. Well, it's okay. Believe it or not, I understand, given that we all went through some real odd collective trauma.
Yeah. How did you handle what happened to, well, with our text message? What did you end up doing?
Well, after I vomited up blood, I did a little purging ritual, and then I took some melatonin and went to sleep. After all, there's not much that I could do about it after the fact.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. Yeah, we it was quite the ordeal, but I was rather proud of Mossy. She really pulled out all the stops for us on that last mission. So she was swinging for the fences, if you will. I was rather impressed with her.
Yeah, well, I don't think she knows how strong she can be. And hopefully she can learn and hopefully be a quick learner. Obviously she's talented in many things, but the arcane arts are not always inviting to everybody, but I think she's got a chance to make it big.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. A couple things I wanted to stop by. First of all, I'm here to just apologize for last night.
There's no apology needed.
I know, but as a gentleman, that's not appropriate to be talking about a lady in front of people like that. Mossy was she just had a moment, but I do apologize. But I'm also here for other reasons. First of all, has my new Orgonite come in?
She says, "Oh, you know what? We got in some packages yesterday, but to be honest, given everything that happened, I haven't had a chance to go through them."
That's understandable. I don't need it right now. I'll just, especially after all the stuff we've been through, just wanted to check and see if it's come in or not.
She says, "Let me double check in the back, and I'll let you know." And she heads back into the office, back into some of that storage area. You hear some things being moved around. She says, "Oh, looks like I haven't gotten the delivery in yet, but let me check. I might have tracking on it." And she pulls up, some invoices and stuff. She's like, "Oh, looks like it'll be delivered. It says today, so
okay.
As long as they can make it in, that the local guys who drive the routes are at work today." And she kind of like gestures to them all. She's like, "I'm one of only a handful of shops that opened today, so."
Yeah, I can't imagine the Gap workers being here today.
No, they barely show up on a normal day, so.
That's true. That's so true. Anyway, the other thing I wanted to talk to you about, and it's a little bit more, I guess, up your alley in terms of, esoterica or the arcane.
Mm-hmm.
I've been dealing right now with a lot of things like objects that have become very sort of totemistic to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I was wondering, I know that you were teaching Joel how to scry and how to do those kinds of things. I was wondering if you could teach me or help me or enlighten me or direct me to a means of learning how to read some sort of object.
Yeah, reading objects. Are you trying to sort of get, usually reading objects is trying to get the vibes of maybe like a previous owner, or that sort of thing? Is that?
Yeah, something along those lines. Something that I can just be able to, see or hold on to something and know kind of its provenance.
Okay. Let me, here, follow me. And she goes into the back where the bookshelves are. She begins searching. And as I try and think of a good name for a book that has to do with this sort of thing, she goes to sort of the section that's on like energy healing and vibes and quantum, like all the quantum stuff.
Sure.
And she's pushing through some. She's like, might be, and she pulls up one. She's like, how about this one? This one might be what you're looking for. And she pulls out a book, and she's like, I know, maybe it doesn't seem like it, but I've browsed through this one before, and this author's pretty good, and it's called Objects in the Aether, right? And Aether, Aether. And the subtitle is a quantum understanding of superposition, position, consciousness, and collapsing the waveform. And it's by a doctor, and it's like a real Russian looking name, like one that you can barely pronounce. She's like, this is he wrote this in the 80s back in the Soviet Union, and we got it got translated in English, and it's sort of, it's not super popular, but they keep reprinting it, so that's enough that like a first edition, they those cost a lot, but this they keep reprinting it because I think there's no copyright on it, so sort of anyone can print their own version. But
yeah, interesting. All right, well, I'll have to take a gander at this. What do you recommend that I do to become more informed in this area? Are there certain things that you would recommend?
Well, it always comes down to a basic meditation practice. That's sort of no matter what you wind up doing, you have to have the ability to meditate and find that internal center and build on that. Other than that, just object reading in general can be kind of tricky because it's a little bit of a combination of understanding the object itself plus being able to pick up on a person's vibes, more or less. And so reading people generally is really good, and then you kind of have to learn how to read people through the objects that they hold.
Okay. My question though, listen, I need to be able, I want to be able to do this well. Do you think that there's a way that I can kind of channel the things that I already have learned or have captured to help with this process? And he pulls out his organite, which he has on him at all times. And he kind of is like, what I'm talking about are the things that I have in here.
She's like, and Mingy, I can't remember if you've told her what you have in there.
Do you remember? Can't either. I want to say that I have told her.
I think you have.
Because
and I don't know if she
was
thought you were serious about it or not.
Right. I kind of think she was kind of played it off as, oh, okay. That's not what that's for. Or, something along those lines. But I did tell her I needed another organite because the one I had was full. And I didn't know how many more things I could cram into it.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah. So he pulls that out, this now like black gray organite, and kind of is like, I'm talking like about the things that I have in here, like maybe allowing them to kind of pick up the vibes off an object I'm holding, or see if I can be in touch with them.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, and she says you said that they're in there, huh?
Yeah.
Well, I wonder, I mean, there's got to be a way to read it, right? I don't know what that way would be, though. She's kind of like looking at it and thinking, she's like, I almost feel like you don't want to let them out, right?
I don't particularly want to free them. I would sort of like to be able to communicate with them a little bit. Just open the transom just enough so that a little bit of sound can get through, but not the whole entity. You know, I don't know enough about, I've seen a lot of stuff lately, and I don't know enough about how to pull these things out of this to make it happen in that way. Now, I thought about taking like a spirit box and seeing if that would if I could somehow make that work, or taking like a ghost light and shining it through the organite like a prism, and maybe then there'd be like words or, you know, some sort of, you know, interaction in that way. But I don't really want to release them to the world again, and I don't really want to be fully possessed by them, but I wouldn't mind if they helped me.
That is intriguing. You know, most of my work is not work with dead human spirits. A lot of people think that, you know, witches do that. That's sort of like, no offense to the Bible, but that's kind of what the Bible portrays, you know, the Witch of Endor as.
Sure.
You know, it's one of those guys. But most of the spirit work that I do is with like angels or daemons or other sort of minor, call them deities if you want. So I'm not entirely sure what to do with real human spirits. I assume they're human spirits, right?
I'm assuming
That's a good question.
so.
You know what? Go ahead and make an unnatural roll.
Oh boy. Okay. Well,
I'm curious.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. I still think you don't know that they are, but even with the failure on the unnatural, I think you remember, like, well, they were both possessing. Well, one was like a little girl ghost, but was clearly not the little girl, right? Who died in childbirth.
Sure.
And clearly, also, the kid was possessed by something. So I think you would know that they weren't human spirits.
Yeah. And the other one is, correct me if I'm wrong, is the kid, right? Who else?
Do you have
did I
two or
capture?
three?
I think I have 3.
Where did you get the third? I have not been keeping track.
I haven't either. I should have been. I'll have to re-listen.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. So the little girl was the first one that I caught. And then
there was the teenager.
The teenager, right?
And was there another one?
Did I do something at the maw? I don't think I did.
I think you did. And I don't think you... I think you put it on the woman as you...
were killing her.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know if that worked.
Yeah. Well... Okay.
Yeah. So
you know at least
2 to 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know half, in that case, at least 2 are not human.
Right. And I think he would reveal that to her. Just, well, the first one was the entity that was preventing us out at the mansion. That was the very first one. And so that one I do not think was a human spirit.
Oh, the other time you used it was with the Ouija board.
Oh, that's right. Yep.
So, I think only 2. Spoiler alert, it didn't take the
other one, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she's like, okay. Well, if they're not human, then maybe we can use some of the things we would. I mean, generally, you want to know a true name, right? And then you can call them forth. You can keep them in a protective circle, ask them the questions, get their help, and then you can banish them.
All right.
And I assume if you banish them, they'd go back into the crystal.
You would assume that? That would be the thing I would be worried about.
Well, I don't know. Here's the thing. When I do my thing, I don't know where they go back to, right? They're just out there somewhere.
Oh.
She kind of laughs.
All right.
And she's like, that's, maybe I should be more careful about that. Huh?
Well, I mean, maybe. I don't know, but I don't want to add to your burden, if I just am like releasing demonic entities left and right. Right now this whole town is, going up in flames, so I don't want to add to throw fuel on the fire, but I would like to be able to get some answers, because so much of what we have done lately has involved objects that we don't know much about. From my organite to a chalice to, this piece of metal I found, all these different things, a clock, lots of different things have all these vibes and souls. And I'm just curious about trying to figure out how I can see what is significant on the beyond in these objects.
Yes. Well, I think that book could help. But then I don't know. It might be that you're just going to have to spend more time in a meditative state with these objects and just see what you can find. A lot of ritual magic is just about spending time and sort of letting your mind go where it goes. And a lot of it is just sort of intuition. And things pop up and you follow that thread, and then you think of this thing, and as you follow this, pretty soon you're far down along a path and you realize that you're starting to make progress and you've got answers.
Yeah. I'll have to start there. I have to start a new type of ritual, I think. Something to get me into a meditative state.
Yeah. Well, I got a handful of books for beginning meditation if you'd like one of those too.
Yeah, let's why don't you hook me up with your favorite one you think I'd be good at.
She pulls out the beginner's guide to meditation for very stupid dumb idiots. She's like, this seems
point taken.
Right up your alley. No, she just pulls sort of like a beginner sort of intro to it's probably one by like Israel Regardie. He wrote a bunch of those, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, meditation, consciousness, and the self-directed path, something like that.
There you go. Yeah.
I don't have a list of all his works, but any one of those will do.
All right.
It's kind of funny. I sent Noah some like real books to like podcasts that discuss some of these books to listen to. It hasn't come up, so I might bug him and see if he wants to do that during his downtime. But she brings you up, and she's like, and of course the loyalty discount. So knocks a few bucks off.
Yeah. So I appreciate this, Luna. I appreciate you. I am curious about. Well, I don't want to do that right now.
Okay. Way to tease a girl. Come on.
Well, listen, it's not something that I should bring up to you right now. It doesn't involve me, but I just want you to know that I appreciate you as a friend in this time and as a person that's helping us. And I still, I would, we'll just leave it at that.
She gives you a very quizzical look. She says, okay. Weird way to end this all, but
I know.
When is it ever not?
Listen, no, I'm sorry. You deserve better than that. I'm sorry. I'm being cryptic and I'm being an asshole and I'm sorry. My question is, and listen, I know that you know Joel, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know that I think that, and I don't want to be, matchmaker here, but I think that you and Joel would get along pretty well.
When you say that, she gets a real look of confusion. She's like, oh.
Yeah.
Haven't really thought about that, but doesn't Joel have a girlfriend?
He likes to tell everybody that he's got a girl. Ivy is her name.
Yeah.
But they broke up a while ago. And I think that he's kind of hung up on her. And I've just seen the way you two kind of talk to each other and bounce each other, like ideas off each other. And I think you two be pretty good together. And this isn't to say that I didn't enjoy our dinner together and that I don't value you as a person. I feel like I'm the wrong kind of person for you.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's, okay. Message taken.
I'm sorry. I do really care. I care about you. I just, the things about me that you don't know. I'm kind of damaged goods in a lot of ways. And as much as I would like to, have a person like yourself in my life, I can't subject another person to the things that I go through on a daily basis. And especially someone as kind and as caring as you, I can't do that to you. So there's not anything personal. You're a beautiful woman and I appreciate you. You don't need to get involved with my kind of mess, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense. Thanks, Cyril. You have a good day.
Okay. And he leaves.
And you don't need a very high humid to realize it. You have upset her pretty badly.
Greatly. I get it. I tried, but once again, I tried to make everything okay, like I have done, like I did before I got married, but it didn't work yet that time either.
Yep. Yeah. Well, you can't win them all.
Yeah, you can't win them all. So.
Well,
all right. So how long are we going to be in downtime, Dan? What is your estimation?
How long do you want? How long? What is your next thing? How long is it going to take?
Well, just a night.
Are you? But I'm saying, are you going out Wednesday night to the club?
That's not what. No, I was
spoiler alert.
On that.
Club's not open.
Right. I was thinking like Friday he would go do that.
Yeah. Let's listen. Let's fast forward to Friday. It's been a weird few days, and I imagine that at some point you might have texted the other Phantom Finders You might get a text from Detective Marr, sort of like, hey, we need to kind of meet up and debrief, but I'm actually incredibly busy with a lot of stuff, given the fallout from all of this, and so we're taking statements and dealing with stuff. He's like, now we can't find we can't find Reverend Goldsmith, which is a little concerning. Do you know where he is? And I imagine that a lot of these texts are going unanswered. Am I wrong?
Right.
But over the days, he's kind of urgently like, we need to meet back up. And he's like, you get sort of, it's almost becoming like he's got this on his calendar to text you, or at least drop a note in the group text that's like, how's your weekend looking? Can we meet at Big Eddie's Diner? Like, we need, like, debrief, please. My wife won't feed you breakfast. All sorts of ways that he's trying to entice
will not
you.
Make you dinner. Yeah.
Entice funny. You to visit him. But honestly, I think it's still kind of weird with everyone. There's, over the next few days, Wednesday, Thursday, so into Friday, there are stores that just don't open, right? There are people who just are sort of wandering across the street, in front of traffic. And there's traffic that just blasts through red lights. There's a handful of like hit and runs that occur. Just people are not, it's just a noticeable funk. And perhaps over these next few days, as you're reading the book and, practicing a little meditation on, spending some time with these objects, you are noticing like sort of a background vibe to the whole town that is this sort of dark energy, right? That seems to be almost like sucking up people's, attention, goodness, focus. And it's just, you see people who just seem to be wandering, as if they are sort of purposeless.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah.
So let's jump to Friday night, and I'm going to go ahead and say, let's jump to late Friday night.
Yeah, let's go to late Friday night. Do you want me to set the scene in my brain here?
Tell us maybe even like after the fact how you're dealing with some things. Do you know what I mean?
Kind of. What do you mean? I don't.
Given the description that you sent to me, let's assume that it's after the fact and you're sort of dealing with the
got it.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think on Friday we see Cyril, and we see Cyril, and he is sitting kind of like on the edge of his bed, and there's a woman in his bed, and he's kind of doing the kind of trying to quest out into the universe like he did before, and he's coming up empty, and the answers that he received before from kind of like the open windows and the open things, he doesn't get anymore. And he gets up thinking, that what he is doing currently, there's something wrong. And so he kind of pads downstairs to his photo studio or his dark room, and he goes in and he starts going through kind of some of the photos he's been taking recently, but then he sort of gravitates over to the safe that he has in the wall. And he opens the safe, and inside he looks at he pulls out the pictures of his last victim.
Yeah.
And there's a like a handful of them, like probably, maybe a double handful, 10 or 20 pictures of the time where, of his first victim. And he is looking at these images and they're disappointing. They're disappointing to him because the thing that he was searching for, seeing the soul leave the body or some image of that, it did not happen. And he kind of gets kind of mad. And he was well on his way to doing that same thing again tonight. But he can't do it because he's pissed off that he did not see the things that he thought he was going to see in those photos. So that's that's been number one thing that's been pissing him off. And number two is that somebody is copying his MO.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so he's kind of at this point where this ritual that he's going through, thinking that this is what he is, that this is what he wants to do, that this is going to get him the results that he is looking for, that he needs intrinsically, it's not going to do it anymore.
Yeah.
And so he starts, and if you have questions or you need to stop me, let me know.
No, go ahead.
Okay. No, he starts thinking back to the first person he killed. And it was that Afghan militant during the firefight, and how he felt like taking that person's life and taking their photo previously had been like he had owned that person's soul. And he steps out into his studio and he sees the bathtub and he sees the lights and he sees the camera and he sees the 9mm hanging over everything. And he just looks at it and he's like, this is too contrived. It's too much. It's too many steps. It's not the right way to go about this. And I think at that moment, he realizes that he needs to evolve. And he thinks about it and he's like, my first person was a man, was an Afghan militant. It was a kind of a random occurrence that I shot this person. And so these things are floating through his mind, and he starts to kind of, envision in his head this new transformation of himself, someone that can be a little more mobile in his desire to witness the soul leaving the body. And so he starts to come up and starts to think through, how does he make a rig that captures and kills all at the same time? And he starts dismantling the lights and the camera and puts the bathtub away and all these different things, and he just is done with that portion. And he kind of realizes that in his mind he needs to become a different type of predator, and he has wheels spinning up top as to how he's going to make that happen.
And maybe as you finish sort of whatever setup, you actually hear the front door open and close, and you realize that she had left at some point, and maybe you didn't realize how deeply. And I don't know, did you say you left her sleeping, or just sort of left her whenever you left her? She had
just
since woken up and basically found you gone, and assumed.
Yeah. I think I left her sleeping, or at least left her dozing up there.
Yeah.
But if she wants to leave, she can leave. He's not chasing her, or he realizes that was an avenue that wasn't going to fulfill him in the way that he needed. So
very, Yeah.
Yeah. So,
And I think one of the things that comes up that's going to not trigger like a sanity roll or anything, but I think one of the things also that's as you're looking at these photos, not only is it that you failed to capture it, but as you're looking at it, sort of dealing with this idea of the contrivance, you're kind of like, you're thinking about the spirits, right, that are in this thing, and what Luna had said about that, like, possession. And I think part of you wonders if you can be possessed without knowing it. And if it's possible that part of the reason that you have been driven to do some of these things is maybe it's not something that you generated, right? That you think that this is all coming from you, but maybe it is some spirit out there, some wandering spirit that's inhabiting you and apparently some other person. And I think that's another thing that sort of you think you know you're trying to take this into your own hands now.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. I thought you might like that little.
Yeah, I do like that a lot.
Flair to it.
For sure.
So
I think that he just goes about his morning with that kind of spinning up in his head as to how to make that new reality true for him.
All right. Well, go ahead and roll me 1d6.
1d6. A 3.
And go ahead and add that to your unnatural score.
Nice. Okay.
And go ahead and add that as well to your sanity. I think that this downtime, that's what you get. You get 3 points of sand, and you get 3 points of unnatural.
Awesome. Yeah, I can do that. Sounds good.
And I think that's where we'll cut it.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right. Well, I'm excited and a little terrified to see what happens next.
Yeah, he'll figure it out. At least I'll try to figure out what's going on with him. Yeah. And like I said, it's not going to be so. Yeah, we had a long discussion about whether or not Cyril was an appropriate podcast entity, I guess you could, or player
character
for
a
if
podcast.
He was a good character to have on a podcast,
in a podcast that admittedly, as I've described it before, is a combination of True Detective and Scooby-Doo. I think arguably Dexter falls in that spectrum.
Yes,
so
he does.
But you know what? We'll find out more in the future. So we'll see you. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you once again for tuning in to Chaos Springs Eternal, a Delta Green actual play. Shout out to Arc Dream Publishing for making Delta Green. It's my favorite role-playing game. Shout out to Ponzer Kings for Cocytus, our theme song. Shout out to Hideous Hiss, who I've used a few of their tracks. They posted in one of the Delta Green Discords about their music, and I've been really enjoying it for background music. And shout out to you if you are rating and reviewing us. I've noticed that we've gotten a few more reviews on iTunes, and people have been rating us on Spotify. If you do that, send us an email. We've got links in the show notes for how to reach out to us. Make sure you send us your NPC idea, and we will incorporate them into Carrefour. Thank you, and have a great week.